let's now talk a little bit about the SUV scene, the when Michael makes his presence known, and this time it's not the other inmate, and it's definitely him. Um, what are some of your memories of filming that sequence? I imagine it took numerous nights to get the whole thing. What can you tell us about that?
Well, Aaron Armstrong, who plays Michael Myers in the flashback,
Mm-hmm.
who did an awesome job as well.
Yep.
He was the stunt coordinator, so he got with us and got with Kyle and I,
Mm-hmm.
Michael, Nancy, everyone that was in that scene, and we all got together. I have my pajama pants. I'm very comfortable right now.
Okay.
We all got together and we did rehearsals. And it didn't look too good at first. It didn't, the way it was on the paper did not translate when we was all in the car looking crazy, like just running around trying to figure it out. And this one was trying to get here and there. So the choreography had to get down. it had a lot of work. And I think David was a little bit worried. The first rehearsal, he had to call me. He just was looking at us like this is, work with them. So we were supposed to have like 1 day, maybe 2 days of rehearsal. He made us rehearse that whole week. He was like, I'll be damned if y'all jack up my movie for this damn car scene. Y'all gonna work your asses on this damn car scene. So we worked that thing for like a week, breaking it down, getting it together. Then Nancy had actually, she had an injury that she was getting over. I think it was like on her leg or her foot or something like that. So it was hard for her to get back and forth, which was hard for her because she's so strong. She's like a little ox. So she's like, I want to do it. Like I want to move back and forth. Like I can do it. And David's like, well, you're fragile and so yeah, she didn't want to get treated like that. But so we had some difficulties with that. So it was just, just learning the rhythm of it and getting it together, and Kyle getting her scene together. So we spent a lot of time together rehearsing that particular scene to get it right.
Oh, I bet. And so a lot of that, it sounds like most of that was kind of with Aaron and working out exactly how the kills, I guess you could say, were going to happen, and how Michael's I don't know what you would call it, his stalking, his prelude to the kills was going to play
out. Yes, he worked with James. He worked with us. We did several rehearsals, just us, because we needed the most work. James just comes in and is just like, I know what I'm supposed to do. But we were the ones who needed all the work. So we did a lot of all of us together. And then James came in and we did some rehearsals together as well. And then there were some stunt women as well. And they came in and they did some work as well. So we all worked together. It was a lot, yeah.
And I mean, I figured y'all had some stunt doubles for some of that stuff. But what were some of the more challenging aspects of? I mean, was it getting out of the car through the? I mean, what was some of the more challenging aspects for you?
Screaming, because how do you practice screaming? Like, where do you rehearse that at? Like, I was in a hotel. I couldn't scream in the hotel. I couldn't. So it was just like, how do I know if I can scream? I can't whistle and I can't snap my fingers good. So I was like, well, maybe I can't scream good too. So it was good to know that I could scream. But that was probably the hardest part, because I was like, if I can scream and I do scream, when will I not be able to scream? Like, how many screams do I have in me? Like, can I have enough for a whole night of screaming? Or do I just have a couple screams in my bucket? So I didn't know. So it was good to know that my lungs are good. They're really good. And I was screaming. That was me. The jumping out of the window, we did a different jump out of the window for me. There was, because they wanted to see my face initially. So I jumped out and held like this and came out front ways. But then my stunt double, Niala, I think that's how she says it. She did the falling out of the car that you see that made it on the in the actual movie of her falling, and that's her. But everything else was me. And we did do versions of it of me jumping out the car most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was going to be jumping out the car. I'm like, they're going to use me because I did it a whole bunch. I'm my own stunt person. And I saw her and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. She got it. She got it. Yeah. I let her have that one. No, no, she did a great job.
It was definitely a harrowing scene, and with other callbacks to '78 and Nancy's first encounter with Michael back then, there was definitely some callbacks there, with him getting on the roof and how he's attacking her through the window, and then another great line that you get, and I don't remember the exact, but you're basically like, you give me that. I've shot one before. And I thought that was another just perfect Vanessa and Marcus moment, and believable, and then just as you guys had presented those characters up to that point, and he's not arguing. He's like, yeah, okay, yeah.
Right. He knows better.
I love you.
Right.
Yeah, I thought that was all great. And so that too, that was always in the script and everything for you to say?
No.
Okay.
No, that was not in script at all. And it's funny, it was added later. I believe it was in ADR. Okay. And there's a whole backstory behind it too. So initially when I first got to Wilmington, when I told you in an interview that I met Nancy.
Yes.
First, like her and I worked together first, and we hung out together first and all that. Well, initially we had to go, when we first got there after fitting, we went to the gun range. And before we went to the gun range, I was talking to David, and he was like, isn't it going to be fun? You're going to go to the gun range, you're going to be able to shoot a gun, blah, blah. I said, David, I've shot a gun many times before, like the first time I shot a gun. Like I was in a profession where I had to shoot a gun. Like I shot a gun. So I know how to shoot a gun. And he was like, really? And I was like, yeah, I did. So when we went to the range, I was excited about shooting. And Nancy was like, no, I don't do that. I don't touch guns. I'm not with it, whatever. So it was making her calm about the guns. I was trying to help her out, and we just became close. And after a while, it was a little bit fun to her. I know she won't probably admit it too much, but it was still uncomfortable. But I was having a blast. They were they were happy that we were there, so they were giving us like crazy guns, giving me crazy guns to shoot, guns that was like blowing me back, and I was just having a great time just shooting all types of guns. They were like, try this one. So I was just shooting like crazy, and Nancy sitting there like, this is horrible. Like, so that was the opposite right there. So that's how we became close initially anyway. So so the shooting, so that happened, and so I'd already known how to shoot. So when it came time, which was the most nerve-wracking probably part of the whole experience for me, was that night, because that was the night that I knew that I had to do the shooting. And so I was already nervous about it because I had to do it, and then we had to do the whole sequence again, like do the whole thing. And then when the shooting came, I felt like it got so quiet. Like, I know a set is quiet, but I felt like it got even more quiet. Like, it was just like, you can hear like a mouse pissing on cotton. It was so quiet. And then like right before I got ready to do it, because it was not CGI. A lot of things that we did were not CGI. Like Loomis was not CGI. Like everyone's saying, he was not. That is the clever Christopher Nelson. That's what that is. So
another genius.
And team, yes. So I had my wig that was done by the talented Brian Moss, and he had curled that thing to perfection, which is hard because it's a synthetic wig, and anyone out there knows that synthetic is hard to curl. That man worked hard on that wig. Okay, all right, and then. So he had two of them. It was one for me, and it was one for Niala. I believe that's the way you're saying that. So she had one as my stunt. And then if they put the pack on my head, and if it exploded and it got on my hair, we would have to halt production to go wash the hair, curl the hair, and it was a lot. And it wasn't a complaint at all from Brian. He was ready to do it, but I was like, I got you. Like at this time, we had developed a friendship, and I don't know what I was saying I had, but I was telling him, don't worry. For some reason, I don't know why I didn't know I had it because I was still nervous about doing it. But I was like, I got you. Don't worry about it. We got this. You won't have to do it or whatever. And then they suited me all up, and then I got ready to do it. And what you saw was what you got because it was one shot. It was one take. Wow. One take. That's it. That whole dying, everything was one take. So I laugh now when people laugh about it and they get a good reaction out of it because it was a difficult scene for me to get ready for because there was so many layers to it of, coming close and knowing where my marks were to shoot because I was supposed to miss. If I didn't miss, can I say this? Let me come in close to this. No, I want to talk to the fans. Okay.
Yep.
If Vanessa was a marksman, she would have killed Michael, and then there would be no ends. The story would have stopped right there.
That's right.
What are y'all thinking? Why are you cussing me out? Why are you cussing Vanessa out? If she would have killed the man, then what? Then what we would have did? We was left the movie theater and it would have been all. She couldn't kill the man.
Yeah. And
she was in a high pressure situation. Let me put you in a situation with Michael Myers and see if you can shoot like a marksman. You can't. Yeah. Okay. All right. So leave her alone. Leave Vanessa alone. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think a high pressure situation like that, even the best marksman, it's Michael Myers. It's the shape staring you down. And
maybe she went to go call 911 too. Everyone's saying what took her so long. Maybe she went to call 911. Maybe the bricks were too heavy for Kyle to put in the bag all together and her to drag it over to the man. Y'all stop analyzing this movie and just have fun. It's a movie. Have fun. That's it. It's a fun movie.
Oh, and
leave us alone.
It is.
I'm just kidding.
No. You're exactly right. No, I think you're exactly right about all that. But yeah, I mean, and to hear that was one take, that is amazing too. Because like you said, so much that you had to, shoot, fire at the right spot and everything, and all of that, and
hit my marks. I had to hit you have marks on the ground. You have marks up here. And then right before, when I tell you that it was very quiet, you hear David say, Carmela, when you die slow for me. I was like, how the hell do you die slow? Like, damn it. Like, I gotta die slow. I gotta have the pack on me. Like, it was just so much. And I'm just like, okay. And I guess I did it. I nailed it. So I feel like I did a great job. So yeah, the reaction in the movie theater shows me that I did a great job. Whether you think it was funny, whether you said, ooh, whether you think I was dumb, whatever the case is, not me. Whether you thought Vanessa was dumb, that's just, it is what it is. But I'm glad you all saw it and I'm glad you enjoyed it some kind of way. There's one more thing I'll say about my death as well too.
Yes.
So up until that point, there was Stunt was doing a lot of the stunts of that night, and Jim was like relaxing a little bit, like he was getting himself together, in his own or whatever. And when it came time for me to do that scene, I don't know if he sensed it because him and I have like this connection. I don't know if he sensed it or not, but he was like, I'll do it. Like he had a blanket around him. He was nice and warm and toasty, and he took the blanket off and got up there and got in that car and said, I'll kick it. Like he was the one who was going to kick it. So that is actually James, Jude, Courtney kicking that door. It could have been anyone's foot.
Yeah.
It could have been anyone, but that's him kicking it for me. And I remember freaking out when I was laying on the ground and I had just died, and he did the head tilt. And when we got finished and cut, I said, did you head tilt on me? Like, did you do the head tilt on me? Yes. I was so happy that he did the iconic head tilt when I was dead. I was just like, yes, like, she deserved that. Yeah, I'm glad that you did the head tilt.
He does the tilt.
And he did
right
that.
there.
He did that. He's just awesome.
And that was just James. That was just James taking that moment.
That was just James being James. Like, he just... And I remember when I got him, I was like, did you do that for me? Oh, you did the head tilt
That's awesome.
That was huge. That's huge because everyone knows that hit.
Oh yeah.
Everyone knows it.